Okay, so when I type a message, hey, and a couple other messages, they just come through as this one list here. So let's make this actually look like it should for a chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and modify inside of our helper function here. Anytime that this message comes through and I'm the one that make the message, I'm going to display as white and I'll put myself to the right hand side. And then anytime that I get a message from somebody else, I'll put them on the left hand side and maybe change the color just so it looks a little nicer. So what I'm going to do is I am going to set myself as a user here. So inside of our, I'm going to close some of these files we're not using. So inside of our template where we have our messages being displayed, why don't I just go ahead and display, just pass in the value of me, which will be my username. And by my username, I simply mean the user that I'm currently actively logged into. So it says that there's an undefined function username. This is actually a variable that is coming, that we're passing into our template. So we're going to add the @ sign. And then, so that way we can grab our username, this username, and we can pass it into every message that we make. And what we're going to do, the reason we're going to do that is because we're going to use this to compare to the message data. So since in our message data we store the username of the person that made the text message, what we're going to do is we don't know, as we're looping through these messages, we don't know if it's a message from another user or if it's a message that we made ourselves. So we're going to compare the variable username, which is the one that we set up when the user that mounts the page. So the user that mounts the page has the username value, and we're going to compare this variable with the one that is in the message data and see if they're a match or not. And depending on if they're a match or not, we'll be able to determine should they go on the right-hand side and be our messages or on the left-hand side. So we're just going to go ahead and expand our local function here, user message heeks, to really make this simple and convenient. So we can pass in another variable here. And I named it me because this is me. This is my username. And so me, I can come inside of our helper function, and inside of here, I'll just do a comparison. So I will switch these classes over to have the structure that is going to be using these curly brackets, and we can have inside of here, we can have all of our, we're going to wrap just these quotes inside of these curly brackets, which will allow us to execute some comparison code inside of here. We're gonna modify these classes basically. I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna use some Phoenix notation to say that if we are inside of this area of code, we can do a comparison, a conditional check with Elixir. We can do if the username that's being passed in here. So if username is equal to me, and so we're going to need to capture the variable me in here. So we can set this up to be me. Then what we'll do is we'll execute some code here that will do, whoops, want to keep that inside the brackets. We will do the following code, and we'll put some classes in here. So we'll make the background, and we'll keep the background white here. So we'll use this class that's here, this white one. So if the username is me, the background will be white, and we can put this inside of our brackets actually. And then so we'll do this string. Else, what we will do is we will do the background of green, and we'll have to set like a shade of 300 or so. And then we'll take a look and see if that's functioning. We'll test this out. And it looks like we broke something. And we made the mistake of putting our variable me inside of this map here. So let's just go ahead and let's just move this out a little bit into, it's going to be a separate variable called me. And now it won't be the message data map. It will just be another variable me that we're passing in. So let's test that again. So we'll do a test. And now we have it displaying again. But it's not really help. Let's open up. We need another user here. So let's see. Let's do a test here. Is this working? Okay, this is working. So now we have this green appearing if it's a different user and it's staying white if it's us. I don't like this hover thing, so let's get rid of that. This is just going to be some hover stuff here. Focus within. I don't need any of this. So I'll just get rid of this. And that's the nice thing about this auto reload is it's so quick to working. So now that that's working, what we can do is we can expand on this and let's try to make this look a little better. So let's also have the user, I said we wanted to have them kind of be on the right-hand side or left-hand side. We'll just add more classes. So what we have going on right now is we basically turn this into a template literal for Elixir. So, let me delete this. So this is our string here essentially of classes. And what we've done is we've just inserted a template literal here to do Elixir code. So if the username equals me, and me is being sent here as a second parameter to our local function, then we pattern match on me and we do a comparison between the message data and me. And so we're doing that here with these variables that we pattern matched on. And then we're just executing do else code. And we're just template literal, including either this string, which has the background white if there is a match, and then else we're doing the background green of 300. And so we can just do additional stuff like set in the margin to the left. If it's us, we're gonna add some margin to the left of like 40. And then if we're making the text green, we'll add margin to the right of 40. And this will kind of push the messages left or right. So let's test this out. Let's say, hey, and now our user is being pushed over to the right-hand side, and we can see that there's kind of a separate, it's kind of separating it out now onto two separate ends. The code, this looks kind of ugly though. I don't like how it's a block. So what we can try to do is we can go back to our code and we can just kind of clean this up. So we'll go ahead and we'll set it to have a nice border or just a thin border, and we'll try to make it rounded. Okay, this is weird. This is kind of ugly. See how it's like missing something here? So I'll just go ahead and inspect the element. Let's see what's causing that error. So if we come in here and we look at what's going on, that's not it. Right here, that's destroying it. So divide Y reverse, that's weird. So we'll just come in here. So this is just Tailwind CSS now, but also doing it in a dynamic fashion. So this is really nice. So we need to find that divide thing that is reversed and divide Y. Probably have to check the documentation or something. It's kind of an ominous thing. That looks better. Is that just because it's mobile? No, that looks better. Yeah, so just divide Y. So I just inspected the element and located that little glitch there and cleaned that up. That looks a lot nicer. And you really could do anything here, though. You could get crazy. I encourage you to do whatever type of, CSS that you want. These bubbles are a little close, so we'll just add some very generic, going back to here, we'll just add a little bit of margin just a margin to the bottom of every message, like just a little bit, just to space them out so they're not touching each other. There we go. That looks much nicer. I can't think of anything else we need to do. We could check the mobile responsiveness of this page. And the only thing I don't like about the mobile responsiveness is when it gets, this looks good. When it gets smaller, it starts, I mean, this could still be useful. I don't really like how it's a little bit hard to tell between the chat messages section and the users online. We can fix that up slightly. It really looks pretty good. The one thing I guess that's the biggest problem is actually if you get smaller, it removes this currently in topic. So what we could do is we could just refactor our code to just move that to a new spot. So we'll go ahead and do like currently in topic. Let's just go ahead and take this and we'll just completely put it somewhere else. So yeah, I'll just take this and I'll get rid of this. And then where we had our little advertisement here, we'll just go ahead and replace that. And now when the screen gets smaller, that's nice. That's nice. And then the message area, just to make it more clear, what you can do is as you become more familiar and comfortable with Tailwind CSS, you can become comfortable with these different structuring of how things get displayed when it's mobile responsive. So when we get smaller, we want to just have something that displays like our messages are here, so it looks cleaner. So where we have our local function and we're executing all these messages, we'll go ahead and we'll just put some sort of header up here. And we'll just set up a paragraph that will say chat messages, and then we'll have a closing paragraph. And then what we'll do is it'll just have our chat messages display below it. We can maybe add some classes to this and make it look a little nicer. So we'll do class equals to, and we can just add a little bit of space. So we can add some margin bottom, of 4 or so. And then we'll go ahead and we'll also add the property of be on a large breakpoint. We can make it be a block. And then when it's extra large, we can hide it. And the reason for that is that when we're big enough here, it's not in that block anymore. So we can hide that. We know this is a chat message at this point. But when we get smaller and they overlap, it starts to become a little ugly. It's harder to tell that these are separated. And then the other thing we could do is we could add like a color separation between this section and this section. And we could do anything we want. You can get creative. And I think it's beyond the scope, I guess, of this tutorial, just to kind of wrap up this tutorial and not get too picky about the design, because it really looks good like this. And this was my main goal, is to make this look nice. But I noticed that as we were working on the application and I was doing side-by-sides, that it didn't look, I wanted to make it, just fix it up a little bit to look better on that mobile screen as well. So this is pretty much everything that you need to know. So congratulations on building a real-time chat application. So I can say hello or hey here. It appears over here. I can say hi back. We can go ahead and open up duplicate chats here, and we can say more stuff. And we can see that Lure Elk is talking here, Brave Tongue is talking in this tab, and we could just keep adding more and more users to the page. And every time we add a user, we can track their presence in real time. So we've explored a lot of functionality of Phoenix LiveView, pub sub, presence, local functions. We've done stuff in this course with all sorts of stuff. So I think this has been a huge success, and congratulations. I hope that you've enjoyed this. Definitely leave a comment in the section below and let me know what you thought of this real-time chat application and what you think. And definitely let me know if you made any really cool improvements on it, and share that in your comments as well.